Hi. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Steve Gravestock. I'm a senior programmer at the Toronto International Film Festival, and it's my honor to be here to welcome you to the festival and to introduce the North American premiere of Ruben Östlund's Triangle of Sadness. We're pleased to welcome you to the Visa screening room here at the Princess of Wales Theatre. Thank you to our longtime major sponsor, Visa Canada. I'd like to thank our lead and major sponsors, Bell, RBC, and Bulgari for their continued support. Thanks to our major supporters, the Government of Canada, the Government of Ontario, Telefilm Canada, and the City of Toronto. I want to remind you guys, this film is eligible for the People's Choice Award. Please vote for your favorite films at tiff.net/vote. I'd like to thank Elevation Pictures and Neon for providing us with the movie tonight. Also, thanks to the British Council and the Swedish Film Institute for their very generous support. A special thanks to the Swedish Film Institute. They've been longtime partners of TIFF, and they're just sensational to work with. And thank you for many years of support. It really is an honor to introduce this filmmaker in this film. We've had a long history with Ruben. He is frankly, one of the world's best filmmakers. Certainly one of the most daring. I think in some ways, this might be his most daring film to date in a career which has consistently challenged and rewarded audiences. I think without any further ado, please join me in welcoming Ruben Östlund.
Thank you, Steve. I would like to welcome two actors on stage. Dickinson, a big applause. And come, Harris. Dolly De Leone. Welcome, Dolly. It's amazing to be here again. It's always fantastic atmosphere in the screenings in Toronto. It's great to share this together with Harris and Dolly. It's also a very emotional screening for us because of Charlbi Dean, our colleague, one of the main actors that passed away 15 days ago. Of course, we wanted her to be here by our side and to share this fantastic moment. I want to say a couple of words about Charlbi. She was a very caring colleague, and she was a person that was lifting up everybody on set and was bringing out the best of everyone. And you will also see that she was a very, very precise actress. So take a close look on her performance in this film. I think the three of us want to dedicate this screening to her family and to Charlbi in order to pay honor to her work. I'm 100% sure that Charlbi would like us to have a really fantastic night here. This would be an important night for her also to present the film for the North American audience. And I want to talk a little bit about the great feeling of being back in the cinema when we sit people together and watch the content that have been curated by a human being, instead of these things, during the pandemic, and sitting here and individually scroll and look at the images, and it's about me. So I was actually thinking a little bit about the format, that this is a very individualistic way of taking pictures and looking at pictures. But when you turn the frame like this, then you can actually frame many people into the frame, and you start to put things into a context. And to look at this screen together with you guys in here, we want to create something that is thought-provoking. We want to create a wild, entertaining roller coaster for adults. And we want to discuss something about the society, about our existence. And we really want to do that with you after the screening. So the three of us will be here and answer questions, and we hope that many of you will stay and that you will have something to think about after the screening. But stay, please, and we want to share that moment with you also. But now, have a really, really good screening. Bon voyage. See you later.
Thank you for joining us for the Q&A. My name is Robin Citizen. I'm the Director of Festival Programming and Cinematech here at TIFF, and I will be moderating this Q&A, and this will be a fully moderated Q&A. Please help me welcome to the stage the filmmaker of Triangle of Sadness, Ruben Östlund.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And Harris Dickinson. And Dolly de Leon.
Thank you. Wow. Thank you.
Dolly, you have a fan club.
My friends are here. They're my friends.
Ruben, well, thank you for sharing this with the TIFF audiences. I want to start with, what does Triangle of Sadness refer to?
It refers to the wrinkle that you have in between your eyebrows here, and in Swedish it's called the trouble wrinkle, and you get it from having a lot of trouble in your life. So if you do feature films, then you have a deep triangle of sadness that you say, I have. But I had a friend that was sitting and having a dinner with someone working with Botox, and this person said, oh, I can see you have a deep triangle of sadness, but don't worry, you can fix that with Botox in 15 minutes. So, yeah.
How did you cast this film? Not just Woody Harrelson, but your two leads, Harris and Charlbi, and Dolly as the standout in the film.
We went all over the world. We went to Manila, we went to London, we went to New York and LA, and in the Scandinavian countries, and we met a lot of actors, and we did improvisations, right? We were trying out the different scenes. I think that Harris and me, I played Charlbi's part. I played Yaya and was pushing Harris when it came to the bill scene. So it's like we were doing improvisations around the bill scene. And I think that you and Pauline, that is the casting director, did improvisations around when you take command, right? Like when you say, here, captain, like that. So we do a lot of improvisations and trying out the actors, and we try to have a long casting session the first time. So they shouldn't be stressed. We should have time. We should be able to relax. That's the idea.
Harris and Dolly, how familiar were you with Ruben's previous films before coming onto this project, and what did you think when you first read the script?
I was very familiar with his work. I first watched Force Majeure, and then, of course, when The Square came out, I had to watch it. So when I found out that they were holding auditions in Manila for a part, I had to go. So it was very important to me to to make it. So, yeah. Of course, I was very, and still am very familiar with Ruben's work. He's like one of those, especially by the cinephiles in the Philippines, he's one of the most important directors of our time.
I didn't have a clue who he was. No, I'd seen The Square, and then before that first audition, I watched maybe 4 of Ruben's films with my partner, and we were just like blown away. Yeah, I kind of was simultaneously, that made me more nervous to go in and read with you, but also helps enormously because you know the tone, and there is a real specific tone for Ruben's films. So yeah, it was amazing to be in this and do this. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about the challenges of filming that boat scene?
I can start, but you have to add in. But one thing was that we built the interior of the yacht on a gimbal in the studio, so we could rock it, and we could rock it up to 20 degrees. And we were spending, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks on this rocking set. And the crew actually had to eat seasick pills in order to not get seasick themselves when we were shooting it. So that was one part of the whole shooting. I mean, the idea of building the whole set on this gimbal was also that we could make the whole furniture slide around, and people could slide around, and so on. And it's really a great work of set designer Josefin Åsberg. So I want to really pay respect to her work when she did this, because the details were so nicely done, and yeah.
You spoke a little bit about this, but how much improvisation do you actually do when the camera starts rolling?
I don't know, you can answer this, I think. I like to do it like this. You write the script, and then you try it out on set in order to figure out, did I write the script in the right way or not? And I love when the actors are saying, I don't like this line. Why should I say this? It doesn't feel right. And that you add something to the script, or add something with your ideas and so on. So in the beginning of a shooting day, we always use a lot of improvisation. But it's very important to know where you're coming from and where you're going. So only improvisation never turns out to create a good scene. You have to know which direction you're moving in. And then we repeat over and over again. And what I often like to do is, in the end of the day, when we have just tired ourselves out, is that I say, okay, everybody, 5 takes left. And now it starts a countdown that is like, okay, let's really push it now and get the best takes now in the end. And 4 takes left, 3 takes left. And the intensity of the scene very often comes in the last takes. And in the end, you remember that we gathered the whole crew around the camera, so they should sit and watch you when you did the last 3 takes. And before the last take, we had a gong, like boom. And then you could say, action. And then you started to play the scene. And it's a way of trying to combine improvisation to figure out how the scene should be made, and sculpturing, and then in the end, like, okay, now we are playing an important football game together, let's win it. And to create something that is stepping up above what we can expect. And sometimes when it happens, then it's like, wow, this is fantastic. Yeah.
Well, given that process of filming, Harrelson, Dolly, how did you get into your characters? Like, how did you figure out who Abigail was? How did you figure out who Carl was during the filming?
I don't know. I feel like this particular story and character lends itself to just being open each day, and I feel like there was early discussions with Ruben and I that ended up being productive in the way that we let go of any sort of, what is this, who is this person, what is this character, or like when actors say, oh, I would never do that, or it's like, people do uncharacteristic things all the time and act out of path. So allowing the scenes to be a structure for your character is a way more freeing experience and kind of puts the control in Ruben's hands, really. And I love that, personally, because you don't have to, get neurotic about things or traits or whatever. You just sort of be present and let the scene take the character, I suppose.
Yeah, and trust the material, trust the script, because reading the script by itself, I already felt like we were doing something important. And even after I got the part, we did improvisation in your office in Gothenburg. So he played Carl, and I was Abigail. So we did a lot of improvisation. So that was part of me discovering Abigail too, and how he wanted me to play her or how he saw her, which really helped me a lot because, like Harry said, you don't really go into a project knowing 100% how you're going to play a part, but the collaboration with the director helps. And that day we spent together helped me a lot in finding how I was going to play Abigail.
I think the one thing that was really fun to working together was that, both of your characters are going from one place to completely another place. And in order to trust that journey, it's not so much about understanding the character, but understanding the setup of the situation. So all of a sudden, Abigail have power. What do you do when you are in that power position when a young man starts flirting with you? Like, okay, you don't live that long, Yeah, maybe. So, and to try to find the human aspects of what these characters are dealing with, and then if you manage to explain the setup in a way that you can understand it yourself, I can relate to that is possible. Then that's a good way of directing, I feel, often. And sometimes I don't understand really, but then you were helping me and no, but there's a possibility for me to do it because if this is the background or this is the setup. So it's always about understanding the possibilities of a setup of a situation. And for me, directing there's a difference between how to say, the character. I'm not so interested in the character. I'm interested in human being dealing with different kind of setups. I love sociology. And the reason that I love sociology is that sociology gives us a knowledge about our behavior without pointing fingers on the individual, not putting blame on the individual. I don't know if you remember the classic sociological experiments like the Solomon Asch conformity test, or the one when there's a person giving electrical shocks to another person sitting in a booth, and there's authority telling them to give the electrical shocks. What is so great about sociology is that it's painting up a setup, and we can identify with the setup, and we could say, actually, I would be able to do the same thing. And for me, this approach is a way of understanding my own behavior, and I don't have to put fingers on other people and say you are bad and you are good. It's rather more like investigating ourselves in a curious way.
When you say explaining your own behavior, was there anything in your real life that inspired or sparked Triangle of Sadness? I'm thinking about the scene where they're discussing the check or the bill, but even up to the vomiting and other scenes.
It's completely based on when I met my wife 8 years ago.
Which scene?
The bill scene, and then it's okay. I feel less and less shame in my life. The older I get, I feel okay. I can handle awkward situations. But when it came to that bill situation, and as a man, the expectations on me to pay, and I wanted to impress her, and but I felt at the same time, come on, I like you too much. I can't take this role of being the sugar daddy. I have to grab the bull by the horn because I want to be equal, like the actual lines that Harris is saying. I said to her, and
So who ended up paying?
I ended up paying, of course, yeah. And I think we men should create a hashtag that is like, I got billed. Because women are they are masterful in manipulating in that situation. They know, like, if I just wait 1 second longer, he will pick it up from the table. And yeah, I was actually thinking of, should I ask the audience, are there any couples out there tonight that maybe we'll go and have a dinner afterwards? Now it's late, so it's not going to happen, but I hate that situation. I hate playing the man. I hate playing the man. I don't want to be the man. I want to be best friends. And
Are you saying that you're Carl in the
sorry?
film? Are you Carl?
In that situation, I'm 100% Carl. And my wife also said to me, I think it's unsexy to talk about money. I'm like, don't say that's so unfair. I'm trying to open up for you. I'm trying to tell you something that I'm struggling with, you know. So that scene is very, very personal for me. And you know, the 50 euro bill that is pushed down in the shirt, and I was taking it up and I was pushing it in between the elevator, and it fell down in the elevator shaft. So if you ever go to Cannes, because this happened in Cannes Film Festival, I had invited her to Cannes because of course I wanted to impress her. And then, so if you go to the Hotel Martinez and you look into the elevator shaft, you probably will find a 50 euro bill there. You know.
So you've finished what you called your trilogy of male absurdities. So what are you planning to do next?
I'm going to make a film that is called The Entertainment System is Down. And it takes place on a long-haul flight. So quite soon after takeoff, the crew is announcing for the passengers, unfortunately there will be no entertainment, there are no screens that is going to work. So we will have modern human beings dealing with a 15-hour long flights with no digital distraction. And I'm going to look into what will happen to us then, and what will... Maybe we will find each other, or like will we be frustrated? So
It sounds horrifying.
yeah, okay.
Well, thank you so much for sharing this film with our Toronto audiences, and thank you for answering these questions.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.